I'm starting to think that somebody put a Neuralink chip in this guy's head. I honestly, at this point, I think maybe Elon Musk put a Neuralink chip in Cenk's head, dude. I'm serious. He is literally living in an fucking alternate fucking reality, bro. It is like Severance kind of shit happening with the man. All right, people. This is video 2 in the series of Cenk's debate with Kyle Kulinski and Krystal. And to say we're venturing into Twilight Zone territory is not hyperbole. Cenk's refusal to answer the simplest question, no matter how many times it's posed to him, extreme gaslighting. Not only is Cenk trying to rewrite what the left is actually doing, but he has this weird predisposition to fight for the protection of the MAGA voter while he simultaneously uses his time to trash Democrats and leftists at every turn. And this is where we get a little closer to understanding what Cenk's ulterior motive is here. Expanding this fantasy base of MAGA loyalists that are going to be part of his new coalition. Cenk Uygur, we see what you're doing. You ready? Let's get into it.
So now there's a giant full-blown revolt from MAGA against this war. Now, if you're saying, no, I don't see Tucker Carlson, Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Posobiec, Cernovich, Candace Owens, etc., all of them opposed to the war, but you might not, because a lot of people watch programming that honestly just kind of gives them a misleading sense of what's happening.
Did you see Tucker, Trump saying, Tucker called me to apologize. He said he went too far. Did you see Steve Bannon saying, we're all going to fall in line ultimately? So I'm not talking about, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the however many million Americans voted for Trump, some of whom are hardcore MAGA, and you will never move them. And I guarantee you, the moment that Trump says, this is the policy, they're going to say, you're right, sir, this is the policy, this is brilliant, and I am on board. Are there independents that can, are there independents that can be moved? Yes. There are two separate questions here, okay? Number one is we are in hell right now. Like, the level of damage that has been done to this country, done to the world from Trump 2.0 already is astounding. So the number one thing is triage, right? How do we stop?
That's what I'm doing.
How do we stop as much damage as we can? And the track record thus far.
He said that's what he's doing. He's doing triage? Dude, he's like moving like a wrecking ball through the Democratic Party, bro. What a fucking clown, dude. Dude, does he think he's doing triage? Arguing with Francesca Fiorentini today and saying that she's just like Laura Loomer? Like, what the bro?
Trump administration is the only time he has been constrained is through the left and liberals banding together and going through the court system and public pressure. That's it. That's all we've seen in this administration. The other question is, how do you win elections? So go ahead and address that, and we can talk about the election piece. But real quick, before you get in, you know, as to the earnestness of this MAGA anti-war movement, put element number 3 up on the screen. Do you know, tell me, how many Republicans have signed on to the War Powers Resolution?
One.
Is Marjorie Taylor Greene? No. Is Lauren Boebert there? No. One. Thomas Massey, a libertarian who is, you know, ideologically consistent, kind of similar ideologically to Dave Smith.
Dude, where's Maggie? Where's MTG, dude? How come she's not signing on to the no war against Iran? Remember? Remember he went on that podcast and said, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene said if Trump goes to war with Iran, I'm out on Trump. Dude, never happened, bro. Oh, my God.
Every other person here is a Democrat. So to the earnestness of this anti-war MAGA coalition and their commitment to blocking war with Iran, here is where the rubber meets the road. You have one Republican who is already at odds with Trump, who is willing to put his name on this War Powers resolution. That's it.
So, Krystal, look, I know you don't mean it, but you keep conflating two things. the Republican politicians, including Trump, and the Republican voters, or the people who voted for Trump.
Dude, what contact does Cenk Uygur have with Republican voters? What is he talking about? Is he talking about his interactions with people on Twitter? Because he keeps talking about Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson and MTG. He said MTG is anti-war. And Krystal said, well, why isn't she signed up if she's really anti-war, Cenk? Right? I mean, he's ignoring this. But literally, dude, he insisted that MTG, he's been going around telling people that she says, if you go to war in Iran, I'm out on Trump, which of course never happened. She never said that. She wouldn't be critical of Trump. She wouldn't even answer the question about being disappointed in him. She never said that. But he's using MTG as this example of a MAGA person who is out on Iran and ready to like turn. But like, she's not signed on to that war powers resolution. She hasn't signed on with Thomas Massie. None of them have signed on. Nobody. There's nobody in that Republican camp. You know, I mean, that is irreconcilable. Like, I know Cenk is going to dance around that, but that is a really important point because his coalition is not a coalition. Okay, this is all a figment of the imagination. It's a figment of the imagination of a guy who's possibly the worst political forecaster I've ever seen. I mean, this is the guy who said Trump was going to resign in the middle of his first term, right? Remember that? Oh, Lordy.
So are the Republican politicians corrupt? Of course they're corrupt. Are they going to say, hey, Israel, I'll be your bitch and I'll do whatever the hell you want me to do? Of course they are. They're completely owned by Israel, okay? So AIPAC, et cetera, the warmongers, by the way, let's be honest, is more than half the Democratic Party totally owned by AIPAC? Yes, right? So I know, oh my God, oh no, you can't be honest. You have to just say the other side is terrible and our side is angels. No, I'm not going to play that.
Would you rather be on the side of the 37 who signed onto the War Powers Resolution,
Krystal,
or the
I am on the side of the 37. Everything you frame is a straw man. I am on the side of the 37. In fact, Ro Khanna is my top ally. Bernie Sanders, Ro Khanna and I had the same exact strategy that you criticized in November when we talked. You literally put me, and Kyle did the same thing. You guys put me in the same bucket as Bernie and Ro, reaching out to see if we can find agreement on the right.
But what else has Bernie done? What else has Bernie done that has been profoundly impactful? The anti-oligarch, the Fight Oligarchy Tour, which was an effort to bind together the left and the liberals to protest and to resist this administration, and that has been profoundly more impactful.
You're having a conversation with a person who isn't here.
Did the Pentagon budget get cut? Just tell me that. What's the Pentagon budget? Did it get cut?
You've now asked me 28 questions.
Did Don Jr. Did he do whatever with
the he just answered the question. Did the Pentagon budget get cut? Dude, look at him. Look at him, bro. Oh, dude, where's the waffle? Dude, he is waffling, dude. He is like Hot Cake House, dude. Seriously. He is waffling so hard that Nancy Mace is going to show up and fill up his fucking cup of coffee. Dude, she is. She's going to show up with the coffee pot and fill him up in like 2 seconds. Dude, he is like waffling hardcore, bro. Oh my God. Something tells me he is not going to answer this question. That is literally like where we're at. I'm just curious if he is going to answer the Pentagon question before the end of this show.
Did the Pentagon budget get cut? Just tell me that. What's the Pentagon budget? Did it get cut?
You've now asked me 28 questions.
Did Don Jr., did he do whatever with the generals? Did that work out?
All right, guys, look, I came on here because, look, you're generally fair. So you asked me 28 questions, and then let me answer them. So, and stop framing it as if I'm a different person. You keep making all these assumptions about who I am. Oh, are you on the Republican side or the
I'm
Democratic?
literally
No, I'm always on the
citing
Democratic
things
side.
that you said, Cenk. Like, I played your clip
Oh,
of what you
Jesus
said.
Christ, man.
Turn to the camera.
Okay,
Hey,
I'm
tell me
right
if I'm
here,
wrong.
Krystal.
This
Krystal,
specifically,
I'm right here. I'm
Cenk.
right here. Can I talk for myself?
Dude, are you going to answer the question about the Pentagon or what?
You specifically held on the Pentagon budget.
At this point, borderline lying about me in every framing of every question. Can I
How am I
actually
lying?
named
How am I
Cenk
lying?
Uygur
Tell
actually
me how I'm
answer your
lying.
questions instead of you framing
Tell me how I'm lying,
me as a
Cenk.
person that doesn't exist?
Cenk,
Okay.
I played the clip of you talking, so tell me how I'm lying.
Okay. All right. So now, of all your questions, you have this fantasy land that Trump was like, oh, the left thinks Abrego Garcia's, I've treated him wrong. I surrender, left. Come on, what planet do you live on? No, the courts are not left or right. The courts have held. I'm thrilled that the courts have held. And it was so important for the courts to hold. So if they didn't hold on that, he was going to have unlimited authoritarian power. And we are against that. No matter how many times people try to pretend that we're on the side of Trump, listen to what I am actually saying. And you will see this every day on the Young Turks. I am against Trump. Totally. Okay? Now,
Nobody cares about that, Cenk. Nobody is fucking about that at all. And you can stop saying it. Why do you keep fucking saying that? Nobody's asking you about that. We're asking you, did the Pentagon budget get bigger or smaller? Okay, has anyone in his party actually constrained him? Did they prevent him from ending U.S. aid and gutting the government? Have they prevented him from using the military against citizens? Have they prevented him from disobeying court orders? No, but who's held him accountable? Chris Van Hollen's held him accountable. Gavin Newsom has held him accountable. Mark Elias from Democracy Docket has held him accountable. Okay? Harvard has fucking held him accountable. Right? They're like the people that showed up at those No Kings protests. The people in LA who you complained about with the burning of the Waymo car, but the people that literally went in there and were like, fuck you, we're resisting you, boots on the ground. Okay? All of those people have held him accountable. MTG went on your show, and then you went and lied about her to a bunch of right-wing podcasts, but she ain't on that War Powers resolution. She's not like marching in the street with you to end Iran. Tucker Carlson is out there, whatever, mad about Iran, but he's also calling Trump and keeping in line like they always do. Dude, he's starting to fucking piss me off, bro. Because he's not answering any questions. He's just trying to sort of like anger and, I hate to say this. He's behaving like Trump, okay? He's behaving like Trump, where anytime they try to hold Cenk accountable for what he said or the claims he made or the things he's saying now, he returns to one repetitive thing. Oh, I'm against Trump. I think Trump is a bad guy. You're having a conversation not with me. Well, dude, the reason why we're having a conversation not with you is because you're not having the conversation. You're literally just ignoring all the questions and then coming at everybody with this righteous indignation that people are like blaming you for something and saying you're a fucking Trump supporter. Yeah.
Now, okay, yes, but why do you love Trump will be the next question. Okay.
Did I ask that? Cenk,
okay,
talk about a straw man. I mean, you're making up stuff I never
Let me
said.
answer your questions.
Come
What's
on.
the point of coming on here if I can't answer your
Cenk,
questions?
I'm giving you plenty of time to answer, brother. You're making up stuff about me. I didn't say that.
Okay,
so you want to
Jesus
talk about
Christ,
straw men?
Krystal.
You're inventing
it's a
things on the
mistake
spot.
talking to you guys. It's a mistake. Okay, so we're now actually approaching an actual disagreement rather than the one that was foisted upon me that I did. I don't like. So, all right. So, guys, you think that all these guys and their voters are all liars, and that they're not actually.
I don't know why you lump in the voters because
I'm talking about the voters.
Okay, well let's talk about
the voters.
Talk about the voters then.
Going back to the
Let me ask you.
politicians
Let me
who are all
hold on. Let me
corrupt?
ask you.
Why do
Let me
keep
ask
going
you a
back to
really simple
Trump, who's
question.
all corrupt?
Let me
and
ask
making
you a really
it seem
simple
like,
question about the voters.
yeah, well, of course, you like the
Which-
Trump and the Republicans,
Which
or you
part?
trusted
That's
them.
not
No,
what
I don't.
said.
Stop saying it.
Cenk,
You said
let me
during the
ask a really
actual
basic
37
question.
to 1 vote. You said how many Republicans voted for
one.
war powers? I said 1, Tom Massey, and you kept going like, oh, did you know that they didn't? I said, yeah. I said, I answered
because
it
they're
from the
fake.
get-go. So
But
yes,
Cenk,
they're voters.
let me ask you this
saying
question.
that their voters are not anti-war at all? So be clear.
So let me ask you this question.
Let me
ask you this question.
Are anti-war.
Let me ask
Go
you
ahead.
this question.
Are you saying they're actually liars?
Let me ask you this question. Which base?
Dude, boy, do you see that? Are you saying they're actual liars? Boy, dude, Cenk gets really emotional when he's worried about like the MAGA voters being called liars. Did you see that? He's like, don't call the MAGA voters liars. Oh, don't say they're not anti-war. He's got to protect the MAGA voters. Dude, he's like Jesus, and the MAGA voters are a flock of sheep, and Cenki's like, I'll protect you. Come here, I got you. I'll take care of you. Just please vote for me. Oh my God, look at that. Look at how emotional he gets.
Let me ask you this question.
Saying that their voters are not anti-war at all? So be clear.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question.
Are anti-war.
Let me ask
Go
you
ahead.
this question.
Are you saying they're actually liars?
Let me ask you this question. Which base, the Democratic Party base or the Republican Party base, which one do you think is more opposed right now to war with Iran? Which one?
The left. It's not even close.
It's not even close. Exactly. That's the point. And so
No,
if you are going to build,
if
you're going to build a grassroots people-powered movement with bodies in the streets to oppose war, where do you need to go for those numbers?
To the left.
The left,
Okay.
because they're already there with you. And by the way, the MAGA base, the minute that Trump says we're in a war with Iran, they are going to overwhelmingly back him because
They're going to be like wearing bomb Iran shirts. They will literally be wearing shirts that say bye-bye Iran. The day Trump says we're going to war, they will be like putting their kids in the goddamn army, bro.
This is among Trump 2024 voters. You ask them, do you support or oppose the U.S. providing offensive weapons to help Israel strike Iranian military targets? What we're doing now, 79% support. Do you support or oppose the U.S. taking its own direct military action, if necessary, to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons? That's exactly the framing that Trump is using right now. Support 72%. They are more pro-war. So are there some who, don't want to get in another foreign entanglement? Sure. But overwhelmingly, are they going to back an Iran war? Are they already backing an Iran war because Trump said so? 100%.
Okay, so let's establish who we're talking about. So when you talk about Trump and the Republican politicians, 99% of them are liars. They're going to be pro-war. They're going to do all the terrible things that we're against, that we are all against, including me. Okay. Now, when you move to the media.
And when you get to the voters, the people who voted for those guys don't care that they're liars.
I'm out on a limb, and I get it. If you grant them an inch, people will say, okay, that's it. You love them and you're a Trump supporter, et cetera. But I'm doing it anyway because I'm being honest. I think 75% of them are unreachable, but 25% of them, at a minimum, actually will listen to you, have their own audience pushing them to be anti-war. They're not with us on all issues. They're not with us on most issues. But on war, I think that a significant chunk of them are with us. Okay, so when you go to Charlie Kirk's audience, for example, why is Charlie Kirk even dipping his toe into the waters of opposing Trump's policy on Iran and then quickly rushing back out? The quickly rushing back out is obvious. They're ass kissers, right? So the question is, why did he dip his toe in the first place? Because he did a poll of his own audience, and his audience said 90-10 do not help Israel go to war with Iran. 90-10. That's his audience, okay? So now you move to the last category, which are the voters themselves. That is where I am most hopeful that they actually are anti-war. Now, does that mean 100% of them are anti-war? No, not at all, okay? But I think a solid 50% of Trump voters, remember, a lot of them are independents, or a lot of them are in somewhere in the spectrum. At least 50% of them are actually anti-war. So what I'm seeing is all over social media, all over the right-wing shows.
Dude, he's seeing it on Twitter. Dude, I think he is really, I think Cenk is really like you see him interact with people in the replies, and there's a lot of like MAGA type people that are like, you're the voice. I respect you being so truthful. You're really dialed in. I think he is literally basing his general consensus of the political spectrum on the interactions he's having on Twitter, bro. He literally is, man.
Their own base in uprising. Why do you think Charlie Kirk Tucker and Bannon are doing those things? They're almost all of them are saying on their own shows, well, you guys are pushing me to do this, and yeah, I hear you guys. We were supposed to be anti-war, right? Now, they're going to, guys, since this is like the first 6 months, are they going to go run back to daddy? Of course they're going to run back to daddy, right? So what we're trying to do is not turn all of them against all of Trump's policies instantly, because that is wildly unrealistic.
Dude, I'm starting to think that somebody put a Neuralink chip in this guy's head. Dude, I honestly, at this point, I think maybe Elon Musk put a Neuralink chip in Cenk's head, dude. I'm serious. He is like literally living in a fucking alternate fucking reality, bro. It is like a Twilight Zone level. Dude, something is going on, dudes. It is like Severance kind of shit happening with the man.
You are trying to show, either flip them or show hypocrisy to the voters that you can reach on the issues where they agree with us. There aren't that many, but war is one of them with half of his base. So you guys think that if the left...
Oh, now it's half of his base. Dude, now he's like, it's not even just Trump voters. Now he is thrown in there. He just sort of slid it in there. That half of Trump's base is now so anti-war that they're just ready to come like hop skipping over to the Democrats. Dude, Neuralink, dude. Somebody put a fucking chip in this man's head, dude. Or either that, or he saw like a camel toe with a really bright light in it has like temporarily dismantled his cognitive functioning.
There's a maximalist approach, and we yell at those people that those voters are going to interpret it as, oh my God, they were right. Since they're yelling at me, I will now go to their side. My strategy is go on those shows to talk to their audience and say, look, I'm not trying to trick you. I think you guys actually, a lot of you are actually anti-war. And I'm anti-war. And guys, you'd be surprised that they don't think the left is anti-war at all. They would have the same exact conversation in reverse. They would ask incredulously, who do you think is more anti-war, left or right? And they would all say right, and that the left is more pro-war. And I'm like, no, guys, no, we're totally anti-war.
Yeah, but so Cenk Uygur, you're missing out, like, because MAGA doesn't care if the left is anti-war. And the Trump voters don't care what the left believes in or doesn't believe in. They just consider the left to be anti-Trump. And they're going in whatever direction Trump says. If Trump comes out tomorrow and says we're carpet bombing Canada, MAGA is going to be carpet bombing fucking Canada, bro. And if they don't, the other MAGA will bully the shit out of them and threaten them, dox them, attack them. Libs of TikTok will unleash the shit that they do to the fucking trans people and the teachers on any MAGA who decide to like venture off from Trump. Remember when Kyle Rittenhouse said he wasn't going to support him? Like, come on, bro. And believe me, they'll do that to the fucking voters too. They're trying, Cenk, they're trying to just get enough voter restrictions or enough like obstructions in there so they don't even care if they lose voters. Okay? You realize that like Trump and the deep MAGA, they're not even concerned about losing voters because they're trying to figure out how they can win the goddamn election being only 20% of the fucking country. And you sitting there going, hey, Charlie, let's have a beer. Oh, maybe I'm okay if we throw trans people under the bus. You're goddamn helping them do it. All right. Hold on. I'm going to sniff some eucalyptus. Oh, that is relaxing. Dude, I'm gonna blow a gasket watching this shit, dude. Dude, this guy, come on, bro. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.